Hello guys and welcome back to the channel. Today another great story is about to tell. Have you ever wondered what happens when curiosity gets the better of us? Let's find out. Once upon a time, nestled deep in a sunny, green forest, there was a charming little cottage. This wasn't just any cottage. It was the home of 3 bears. There was a great big Papa Bear with a deep, rumbling voice. There was a medium-sized Mama Bear with a kind, gentle voice. And there was a tiny little baby bear with a small, squeaky voice. One beautiful morning, Mama Bear was in the kitchen, busy as a bee. She had just made a big pot of delicious, steaming porridge for their breakfast. But oh dear, it was far too hot to eat. Papa Bear, ever the practical one, had an idea. "Let's go for a walk in the forest while our porridge cools down," he rumbled. Mama Bear and Baby Bear thought this was a splendid idea. So they locked their door and trotted off into the woods, enjoying the fresh morning air. A little while later, a young girl with beautiful, shiny golden hair came wandering through the forest. Her name was Goldilocks. She was a curious and adventurous girl, and when she stumbled upon the bear's cozy cottage, she just couldn't resist peeking inside. She knocked on the door. Tap, tap, tap. No answer. She peeked through the window and saw 3 bowls of porridge sitting on the table. Her tummy rumbled. She was feeling quite peckish after her long walk. So she pushed the door, found it unlocked, and tiptoed right in. First, she went to the table. She saw the great big bowl that belonged to Papa Bear. She took a spoonful of the porridge. "Ouch, this porridge is way too hot," she exclaimed. Next, she tried the medium-sized bowl belonging to Mama Bear. She took a spoonful. "Brr, this porridge is way too cold," she complained. Finally, she tried the tiny little bowl that belonged to Baby Bear. She took a spoonful. This porridge is just right," she said happily. And so she ate it all up, every last drop. After her breakfast, Goldilocks felt a bit tired and wanted to sit down. She saw 3 chairs in the living room. First, she tried the great big chair that belonged to Papa Bear. "This chair is way too hard," she grumbled, hopping off. Then, she tried the medium-sized chair belonging to Mama Bear. "This chair is way too soft," she sighed, sinking into the cushions. Finally, she tried the tiny little chair that belonged to Baby Bear. "Ah, this chair is just right," she giggled. But as she rocked back and forth, a sound suddenly come, crack. Crack! The little chair broke into pieces, and Goldilocks tumbled onto the floor. Oh dear, now Goldilocks was feeling very, very sleepy. She wandered upstairs and found a bedroom with 3 beds. First, she tried the great big bed that belonged to Papa Bear. "This bed is way too high at the head," she said. Then she tried the medium-sized bed belonging to Mama Bear. "This bed is way too high at the foot," she huffed. Finally, she tried the tiny little bed that belonged to Baby Bear. "This bed is just right," she whispered. She snuggled under the covers, and in no time at all, she was fast asleep. Just then, the 3 bears returned from their walk, feeling hungry and ready for their breakfast. They walked into their cottage and immediately knew something was wrong. Papa Bear looked at his bowl and growled in his deep voice, "Someone's been eating my porridge." Mama Bear looked at her bowl and said in her gentle voice, "Someone's been eating my porridge." Then Baby Bear looked at his empty bowl and cried in his squeaky voice, "Someone's been eating my porridge, and they've eaten it all up." The 3 bears then went into the living room. "Someone's been sitting in my chair," rumbled Papa Bear, noticing his cushion was out of place. "Someone's been sitting in my chair," said Mama Bear, fluffing her pillow. Then Baby Bear looked at his chair and wailed, "Someone's been sitting in my chair, and they've broken it all to bits." Now the bears were very suspicious. They tiptoed upstairs to the bedroom. Papa Bear stomped over to his bed. "Someone's been sleeping in my bed," he roared. "Someone's been sleeping in my bed," said Mama Bear, straightening her covers. Then, Baby Bear went to his little bed and squeaked, "Someone's been sleeping in my bed, and here she is." Just then, Goldilocks woke up with a start. She saw the 3 bears staring down at her. A great big bear, a medium-sized bear, and a tiny little bear. She was so frightened that she leaped out of the bed, ran to the window, and jumped right out. She ran through the forest as fast as her legs could carry her, all the way back to her own home. And the 3 bears never saw that little girl with the golden hair ever again. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like and subscribe for more classic tales. See you next time.